won. And the reason I'm late is because I was actually doing some work to set up for one of the games that was played where they got to a table-based position. And if you watched the regular stream, which some of you did, you'll remember I was quoting a game from 2011 where Nepomniachtchi was white against Naka in the Tall Memorial in Moscow. Now, the reason I remember that game is I was there with Naka. So I remember his games. And he got to a ending that was pretty close to winning, and then he did not win. Yeah. Yay, I'm here. Very funny. That's right, Moobot. You go, Moobot.
Yeah, I hate to win one Falcon and Rhino Blast.
Yeah, make sure, something. Yeah. In what cartoon show is Rhinoplasty one of the stores in the town? South Park.
I've never seen that. But
Well, you could have guessed it.
I could have. There are only 5 cartoons.
You could have, you could have said I never saw it. So yeah. Okay, I refreshed, and that didn't. Well, 0. That's pretty good, right?
I can't stand South Park, but I didn't give it a big chance.
South Park's good. Some of the episodes not too good, but that's Yeah, I don't like when this 1 is here. I'm not a woman. God, that's better. Go back and get rid of that. All right, nobody's chatting. Karen has her own stream. Correct. This guy said South Park. SP. Yeah. 8 people. That's pretty good. Twitch knows you're not a person is correct. Man, am I sweating. I walked slightly. Yeah. Well, I did. See?
What is that?
I showed you in the car. That's
the same one. Oh, yeah. That's Archer laughed about. It attacks him.
I like the way every time we watch it. There's a video on Twitter, and I'm sure everywhere else, where the guy keeps putting rubber bands around a watermelon until the watermelon explodes. And he's wearing goggles, and Yeah. So the truth hurts. It was recommended by Trump. Hard to understand.
VT says, I'm drinking this bleach, but nothing's happening.
Good. Yeah. 9 viewers, that's pretty good. So we didn't get a thing saying I'm streaming. Like it didn't pop up. That's why there's nobody here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Twitch is good.
How do they know?
Yeah.
How do they know?
I told everybody on Twitter and everybody on Discord I was streaming at 9. So that's like 4,000 people. So.
They just checked.
Also, they're just sitting here at my channel. There it is. Well, that must have been you, not me.
That was me getting the notification, though.
Yeah. I didn't get a notification. I must not be streaming.
Oh.
Luckily, we have 60 seconds of commercials. This is wired and weird. It's trying to learn. You have a spare monitor that always plays my stream. Good.
That was your notification.
And I didn't get it. Well, all right. So we're going to look at the 8 games that were played today, but we're going to do one in depth. The Rook and Pawn ending that Magnus was trying to win in the last round, which went from like win to draw to win to draw to win to draw, because these are the greatest players who ever lived. And I have the table-based web page set up with the position I want to start from, so we can see all the mistakes that were made. Then, if you remember, I talked about Nepomniachtchi Nakamura from 2011 Tall Memorial, and I have that game also. We'll look at the end of that game, which was the exact same position. Okay, frankly, not terrible. Yay, 100 centiges. We need 2 more of those so we can get, what's it called? Another raid. It says 14, but I don't believe that.
Hey, Jess.
I don't believe that. See that?
Where?
14.
I don't know.
I have a mouse. I'm pointing to it.
Okay.
See it?
I see it now.
There's not 14 people here. There's like 700 people chatting.
Is that 700?
I have to refresh.
All right.
No, it's going to be like 100. I have spoken.
Let's see.
Yeah, ridiculous. 11. See, that works good. Yeah.
Maybe there's only 11.
Well, no, there's like 100 people here.
Hey,
it's just not working. Frankly, terrible. Okay. What's this? Join the club. I posted news. Ooh, I didn't even know that. Good. Okay. You're the best. YOUR capital Y. Should I ban him?
No.
What country is he from based on his terrible name?
I don't know. Maybe Iceland.
No, the Netherlands. But good, thanks for playing. Yeah. Now he'll be saying like, I'm Icelandic. What are you talking about? He might say that. Then you win. Jolly J Mock subscribe. We need one more person to do something, then the train starts. 100 cent to do is a sub, something.
I feel like the train, it goes too much.
Chinese food's no good. You want Thai food and Indian food, and then you could also eat Vietnamese or Japanese. Chinese is like fifth.
Hitchens or extension?
You agree, right?
I agree.
Yeah. Circle gets the square.
What is the frequency of the train?
Once an hour is the most you can do. Yeah. I mean, I don't eat dog or cat, so I'm a vegan, so I can't really have. I am Icelandic for real, but that was somebody else. So, yeah. All right, now we'll ask Karen the $1 billion question. Normally I give her $1 trillion, but she might know this one.
I'm not going to know.
If you're Icelandic
Yes.
and you're a woman,
Yes.
your last name, your last name, what's the end of it?
Darn, what is Bjork's last name? I don't know.
It ends with DOTTIR, Dottir, because that means you're the daughter.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy got it. Actually, they all got it. What? There's a good female bridge player who's Icelandic. Nobody can pronounce either one of her names. Yeah, even her. I asked her. She's like, I don't know.
Hey, Dr. Potzer.
So we can't get one donation of $1 to start the train? Man, I hate you guys.
Incorrect, Dr. Potzer.
CrossFit. Let's see. My last name is something. There we go. Another train. In Iceland, there's only like 5 first names.
Yeah?
Yeah, for men.
Oh.
Yeah, like it's either Helgi. It's usually just Helgi. Everybody's Helgi. And then there's let's see. If I just name the 5 Icelandic GMs, that should do it. Frederick, but they spell it with different than we do.
Yeah.
Like we only spell Frederick. They don't do that. They have a lot of I's. Like I is the first letter, then F, the I silent. Did you believe that? Because that was funny. The I's not silent. All right. Yeah, they don't spell Frederick right. Okay. Okay, I was in Iceland in 1990. It was cold. And we went to a place which translates to pizza house. What word do they use for house?
I don't know.
Who's Sid? Adam Wallace donated $2. He'll double it. Thanks, Adam. Yeah. Pizza Husid. That was a good place.
Potential
Yeah.
matches.
Pizza Husid. Iceland was nice. Yeah.
Is that really true, trying to learn?
What's trying to learn writing?
There's a dating app in that.
No, I believe that. No. In Iceland, everybody.
Not a lot of
There's
people
no
there.
people in Iceland.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's correct. Adam Wallace gave 20 subs. He was
Yay.
just kidding before. Yeah. Grisha
Thank
drew a
you,
game,
Adam.
minus 17.
Well,
Yeah.
for Adam,
Iceland was
hard.
nice. Yeah. Yeah.
Love you, Adam.
Thanks, Adam. Okay, so you're gonna want to be here for the end of the stream because I'm gonna do good analysis of Game 4. The other games I won't do good analysis because I'm tired and old and I left my excuses at home. So, yeah. Another train. You got to give 147%, Karen. I keep telling you. Yeah. Instant level 5. God damn. Take it from me. Nobody ever checks some app before they sleep together. Take it from me, the actual Icelander. Yeah, the truth hurts.
They're just so
Yeah.
happy to.
When I stayed at a guest house, what I do when I go to a different country is I ask for a tongue twister, and then the person says it, and I repeat it. We keep doing it until like I'm okay, right? And then I forget like 5 years later, but I like to know a tongue twister in every language. So I asked the guest house woman, if you could call her a woman, and I said, "Can you give me a tongue twister in Icelandic?" And she goes, "Well, my name." She's like, "If I tell you my first and last name, you won't be able to
What's her
repeat it."
name?
Well, I don't know. But her first and last name like are both like 80 letters. She says, "Yeah, no, you have to be Icelandic to like say my name." So now before we start, I'm gonna tell you another long, really boring story. There's a show that I watched. You can watch it now. It's like by the guy who was the British memory champion. He's like top 10 in the world, some British guy. And he was touring the world doing memory stuff, and he went to Iceland. Now, this guy's really good at languages, this guy I'm telling you about. So he memorized Icelandic in like 3 days, and then he didn't speak any. Then he went on a talk show, and they did it in Icelandic, and they said, "Yeah, you speak fine." Yeah.
Wow.
Then he went on Letterman. He has something with numbers. He has like they always have brain damage. These
Something
guys.
wrong with him.
They always got brain damage. So he says when I say the number 6, you like see the number 6. He says he sees like things. So he can memorize long series of numbers because they're things. They're like shapes and pictures.
Colors.
He's just, yeah. So he was on Letterman and he said, Letterman, you look like the number like 79, like something. He says, that's a very handsome number. And Letterman said, well, you got my number. Then they went to like, I think it was Salt Lake City. It's where the Rain Man guy lived. The guy Rain Man's based on. That was this guy's hero. The guy they were doing the show about, he's like, oh man, I'm going to meet like the Rain Man guy. He knows that guy. That guy knows everything, but there's something really wrong with him.
Yeah.
So what's wrong with the Rain Man guy? He died a long time ago, the Rain Man guy.
Synesthesia, that's the word
Right.
I was thinking of.
What's wrong with the Rain Man guy is you have like 2 parts to your brain, like the left and right. He doesn't. There's something happened to him. So there's no... So the Rain Man guy, he knows everything that ever happened, but he can't like tie his shoes. But if you're like, see that book on the shelf? Can you read me page 143? He'll be like, okay, 143 says this. There's something wrong with him. But he can't, yeah. So that guy was really impressed with the Rain Man guy. And then Rain Man wanted to watch Wapner, so they had to leave. No? You saw Rain Man, the movie?
I saw it.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that part of it. I mean,
You remember that part of it? That was one of the funny...
I saw it in the 80s.
Well,
that's
that's when I was down with the ladies.
Can't expect me to remember that.
Anyway, Jay Wolfen subscribed. Everybody subscribed. Everybody donated. Yeah. All right. Checkmate. 5 minutes to Wapner. That guy knows what's up. Yeah. Now, the reason the British guy is well known is he's one of the guys who has brain damage, who's really smart, who can actually converse with people. He can actually go to the scientist and explain like what's going on. The Rain Man guy, he can't like tell the scientist why he's smart. He can't. He just goes. He can't. But the British guy can do it. He's like, okay, here's what's happening in my mind. Yeah. Kim Peek is correct. That's the Rain Man guy. He died a long time ago. The Rain Man guy. The British guy is alive. Yeah. 100 centrifuges. Inject all the things. That's right. If you inject something, you'll get rid of the coronavirus because you'll die. So that gets rid of it. Yeah. So then you'll have it. So he's right. Can't argue with him.
I didn't see. Did he have a press conference tonight?
Yes. And hold on.
It.
No. You don't understand the press conference tonight.
Yeah.
No questions.
No questions.
No questions.
That's the fun part.
No questions.
Oh.
And Fauci and Birx weren't there.
Oh.
So Trump spoke for a minute and ran away.
Darn.
And then Pence spoke for a minute and ran away. And then the guy who's the head of whatever, I don't know who it is, he spoke, took one question and left. So one guy took one question. Pence and Trump took 0 questions. Okay. Trump today, when he was sitting on his big table, a reporter, just way before the press conference, he said, how come you said all this nonsense? And he said, I was just being sarcastic.
Yeah, I saw that headline. Well,
Yeah.
darn, well, I guess I didn't miss anything.
Exactly.
Because the questions
Just
are fun part.
also, he said, just kidding. Yeah. When they asked Trump what's going on, he said, just kidding. Yeah. Very suspicious. Okay. Oh, yeah, even after you die, you keep the coronavirus? Well, then Trump's thing won't work. Terrible. Oh. See, by eating Tide Pods for years, this guy, now he's fine. He can't get the coronavirus.
Eating what?
The Tide Pod. Remember the kids used to eat Tide Pods?
Oh.
Yeah, he says, now I'm fine. See, they made fun of me. Now I'm great. I can't, yeah.
Could he be in a doctory?
Okay, good president. Good. All right. Anyway, back to whatever it is I was doing. Okay, so in this position, people thought that Magnus mouse slipped in this position because he made a move that's relatively unknown. Bishop c4. Okay, notice this pawn's hanging, right? Mm-hmm. Now, the reason is after knight c3, every move, then a6 is what opening? Remember, MVL's black. What variation of the Sicilian is this? MVL's black. Remember that.
The Nidor?
That's right. Mm-hmm. Named after?
Nidor.
What was his first name?
I have no chance of knowing
Miguel.
That. Oh, I was going to guess.
And where's he from originally?
Miguel.
Originally?
I don't know.
Poland. Then why did he leave Poland and never come back?
The Nazis?
Not so good. Mm-hmm. Right, he lived in South America. He also was a businessman, and he was in Michigan a lot, but never played chess in Michigan. But he flew from South America to Michigan a lot, I was told. Okay, now, when Najdorf invented the Najdorf, okay? He wanted to play the move e5, and now you can't play bishop b5 check because I said so. Some GMs, like Kasparov, they wanted to play Scheveningen because they spoke Dutch, right? And then white plays the Kara's attack. What move is the Kara's attack recommended by Matt Larson?
Well, G4.
G4. So here's what he would do. He would play A6. I am playing the Najdorf, right?
Yeah.
Then after here, he's like, just kidding, playing the Scheveningen, but you can't play this anymore because you already played here. Okay. So MVL always plays the Najdorf.
I don't
Always.
even understand what you just said.
Doesn't matter. MVL always plays the Najdorf, but Magnus played bishop c4, confusing the audience. Now, if you take on e4, which is fine, nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Now, bishop f7 check, confusing the audience. Okay, takes, queen h5, putting it in H. Right. And now if you play g6 or king g8, queen d5 check wins the knight back.
Okay.
And the engine says black's fine. Black has the two bishops fatals. Okay. And king f6 is bad. You don't lose a piece, but you get mated, so that's bad. Yeah, knight c3, and if knight c3, then you get checkmated. Horrible. Yeah, all right. And then Morphy doofus. Okay. So knight takes e4 is fine, but probably MVL thought bishop c4 was some secret illegal analysis from Magnus. He'll just play boring. So he didn't play. So he played this. Okay. And now they have sort of a normal Sicilian, but it's not a Najdorf. Now, of course, this is a very strange move. Bishop d3. So white has nothing. So Magnus's point is, haha, you didn't play the Najdorf. Now we just have to play chess. And then MVL said, no talking. Okay. He said, ferme la bouche, right? That was funny. It was like French, but with a German accent. It was like sort of mean. Okay. So the game went on and on. Really boring game. Really boring. Okay. Boring. Horrible. Okay. Now, one of the weaknesses of a weak player is shown a lot in Firouzja's games. He's only 2372, so yeah. That's an inside joke. That's the rating they show for him when he plays here.
Yeah.
It's like 27.
Everybody kept asking about it.
Right. Yeah. Instead of just ignoring the ratings because they're chess.com ratings, they're like, why does it say that? Okay. Now, one of the weaknesses of a weak player, such as Firouzja, and in this case, MVL, is they can't just chill and slowly. Now, you're a good player, so you slowly and methodically play, right? The weaker player, they're always like, rah, I got to do something. So the engine says this is equal, right? And look at the engine moves. You've never been so bored.
Yeah.
Knight d7, h6, bishop d8. Now, what would Popeye say? I had all I can't stands no more, and then they lash out. So this is the mistake Firouzja makes almost every game. He's like, rawr, and then doesn't work. Okay? He's not well prepared. And that's what MVL did here. He played d5, which gives white a pass b-pawn. Frankly, d5 is a terrible move, optically speaking. Okay. So now he should take with the bishop, which is weird. Taking with the bishop's weird. So take with the knight. Okay, and as you'll notice, this pawn is quite passed, right? Okay. So he pushes his passed pawn, and in this position, queen b3 is a blunder, okay? Now, black is much worse, but queen b3 loses. Now white has a very easy forced win, and instead Magnus played a move that draws. You know why, right? Greatest player ever. Okay, so the winning move is the obvious b7. Frankly, obvious. White wants to play rook c8, right?
Yeah.
Okay, there's two obvious moves for black. Rook b8 or d2. Otherwise, I go here and you resign. Okay, after d2, you'll notice the rook is overworked.
Yeah.
So I just take it. And then the engine says plus 5,000 for white. Okay, so that's rook b8. Conversely, I go here. You have to take this pawn. Well, your rook's hanging. And then takes, bishop here, threatening the bishop, and it's mate. So you get out a mate, like h5, let's say. Check here, and white's up a piece. Now for Magnus, that should be pretty easy. For Magnus. Maybe not for like the guys watching the stream. So after b7, the engine says like this monster winning advantage, right? And Magnus played queen f3. Now queen f3 is particularly stupid. And let me explain why. In this position, Magnus thought for a long time and played the absolutely perfect queen e4. Notice the third move, queen f3, is equal, right? Mm-hmm. So it's weird that he played the correct move. That is correct. And then he didn't go here. That he didn't go here now, then he went there losing a tempo. Now, the reason this is better is it puts pressure on the bishop. So while black is doing all this, his bishop's hanging, so you got to watch it. Queen on f3 is sort of passive. So Magnus plays the correct move. I can't do anything. Then he plays the terrible queen f3. All right, now the game's a draw because now this pawn just gets captured. Yeah, and they just trade pawns. All right, and this is just a dead draw. And they agreed to it. They repeated, always repeat. So MVL equalized. Then MVL played d5 question mark. Then MVL played queen b3 question mark. And instead of Magnus winning with b7, he played queen f3. 15-minute chess, not as high level as a slow game that's 5 hours. Not so high level. Exactly. Now we can read the great chat like I beat 1150. See, that's the chat I get based on that game.
Good DK.
Yeah, I wouldn't have seen that win, so Magnus played good. Yeah. Did you jog to the chess center? I did not. I ran.
He walks down the hall.
And I ran. Well, we got all these lights on us, and Karen's like, I'm cold, so she turns the heat way up. Now, you know it's hot in here. I can prove it. Want me to prove it? Is your coat on?
No. I got a sweater on.
No, but is that coat on?
No.
No, so that means it's hot in here.
It is warm.
Yeah. Yeah, Karen always has like 7 layers on. So, yeah. All right, go Karen. I found that IG and I wasn't watching the game. Well, I had to go to the bathroom earlier, and the bathroom's down the hall. And I keep telling Karen to get a moving walkway in the chess center. And then, I'm also trying to get an escalator in our house. And she's like, our house is 1 level. And I'm like, so? Checking in from Ireland. It's ass in the morning in Ireland. God damn. All right. So we've been here for 3 or 4 hours. We did 1 game. All right. Firouzja versus Fabiano. It's the 2 Fs.
Now be nice to that boy.
Which one? Fabiano?
Firouzja.
All right. So white sacks a pawn and has excellent compensation. Good. Okay. This is all very, very reasonable. White's down a pawn. White has a good position. All right. Now, in this position, white played the unforgivable, anti-positional, not understanding strategy, b4. Notice there's no reason to play b4. None. Okay, ridiculous. So the engine says this is equal. White's down a pawn, and white obviously has a very good position, but he's down a pawn. But he gave away the c4 square, and Fabi has 2 ways to get an advantage now. He played the most incisively because he didn't get his 2800 rating in the mail. So he could play knight d7, knight b6, knight c4. That's a good square for the knight, right? Instead, he played rook c4, which is correct. And that's an exchange sacrifice, which is very suspicious to accept, so he did not. After takes, this is the best bishop ever. It wasn't the worst bishop ever, remember? Passed pawn, d5 square for black. The knight can go to d5, or we can attack this pawn and this pawn. See? Mm-hmm. Right? And the engine says black is virtually winning. 2 bishops. Okay, so Firouzja's b4 was very bad. All right, speaking of very bad, we're going to get to some very bad. Okay, now in this position, Fabi made a nonsensical move, worse than Firouzja's b4, if that's possible. Okay, here, white can't do anything. White has no active plan. Okay, so the engine just says black's better. And Fabi played this move, which is a terrible tactical blunder. Very easy tactic for Fabi. Frankly, ridiculous. Takes. And now, what's the bishop sacrifice with check that wins for white?
Well, I mean, I say bishop takes on b5.
Yeah.
I don't really see the follow-up.
Yeah, well, the follow-up is queen takes b5, attacking 7 pieces.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
The pawn takes.
So Fabi didn't see that? What's going on here? Okay, so now white's better. Okay, but like Geary, when he's better, Firouzja, he gives it all away. Okay, now this is a very good bishop. It's pinning the knight. The pawns are on the dark squares. So he should play bishop a4, maintaining the pin, or bishop d3. If he's greedy, he can win his pawn back, but that's no good. So instead he played knight d3, giving it away. Terrible. Now the position is just equal, and it was equal the rest of the game until it wasn't. So this is all equal. Everybody's happy. All zeros. Every move is all zeros. Everything's fine. And then in this position, white made a 7 question mark move. Now, the reason his move is bad, white, is white has a move that looks like it wins, and black has a crazy way to draw. It's possible if Firouzja made the move that looks like it wins, it's possible he would have won. It's possible that Caruana wouldn't have seen the drawing move. I don't know. I think he would have because he played bishop h5. So I think he would have. That move is bishop f6. And now if you play here, queen here, white's winning, as the engine will indicate. Queen g8 mate is annoying, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, and then that's no good. Okay, and then the engine says black has to take this, and maybe black would draw that position. Maybe, probably not. Okay, instead, black draws by not taking the bishop, by playing rook h1 check. Would Fabi have found that? I don't know. Takes, queen f1, bishop f3, the mirror image, but not really. Now, we're threatening queen g2 mate with advantage, right? Mm-hmm. See? Yeah. So you take, and then perpetual check. Okay, that would have been a fine ending to the game, showing the top level of the players. Okay, instead of bishop f6, which forces black to find that draw, which he may or may not have found, I don't know, he played queen c2 check, forcing bishop g6, right? And now after queen c5, black wins immediately. Queen f1, and black wins, as you can see what the engine says. So frankly, that was terrible. Yeah, black's going to checkmate white now. Black's threatening bishop e4, queen check, and rook f3 check, b3 check, etc. Yeah, the truth hurts. So for example, if white threatens mate, for example, which he didn't do, we can stop mate with bishop e4, so we have an escape square. But now it's mate. So the truth hurts. f3 does nothing, because I can just take it. And you can't take because, queen g1 mate, queen e2's mate, rook b2's mate, everything's mate. Okay? What would they sing in Popeye about this? Everything is mate, mate, mate. Right?
I don't watch
Everything. No, the movie. Robert Altman.
I haven't seen it.
What? Come on, how could you? Everything is mate. It's food, but.
Hey, Grandmaster Gary.
All right, it's Gowrie. Okay, so queen c2 check, double question mark, bishop f6, always play bishop f6, bishop e4, and white resigned. See how this is mate? Mm-hmm. And Ali Reza was asked, if your opponent's threatening mate, why didn't you stop it? And Ali Reza said, I would rather resign than play f3. Is that what he said? No. Now, by the way, if you're playing Rufus and Doofus, which you're always playing Rufus and Doofus, right? You're not playing like, Caruana.
I am Rufus.
Okay, then you would play this move, and it's 50-50, you win. Now, Caruana would play the winning move, but Rufus and Doofus would play the losing move sometimes, right? Mm-hmm. How many legal moves does black have?
1.
Close.
2.
Correct. One of them wins, one loses. Mm-hmm. Which one wins? It's okay if you're wrong, then you prove my point.
Well, if you take it, the queen gets up there.
Right, if you take it, then you get checkmated. Right. Mm-hmm. So he could have played rook h8, but he knew after king g6 that, as Lenny Kravitz would say, it's over. Mm-hmm. Yeah, now that's the end of white's attack. Yeah. Now, it's well known, and Karen can tell you, when there's a lot of pieces on the board, opposite colored bishops helps the attack because the other bishop cannot thwart your bishop. Right? There's no thwarting.
I do know that.
Yeah. So both sides have a mating attack, but black's mating attack is better. Yeah, this queen is not, like if this queen was like here, that would be, but but the queen's over there. What would Anand say it's doing?
Vishwanathan.
Vishwanathan. Yeah, exactly. Old Country Buffet is closed. Yeah, I agree with that. Gowrie says it's not 50-50 because capturing is very tempting. See? He's the funniest guy in the chat, which isn't saying much because, chat's not too, yeah. 200 centidues, no thwarting.
Yay.
You know the famous song, right? I thwart you, you thwart me. Yeah. All right, back to whatever we were doing. Okay, now MVL's white against Magnus. And what would Ginger GM play with white in this position?
I guess he pushes H pawn.
And what did MVL do?
H4.
Bam! Yeah, and then he texted to Magnus, gotcha, bitch. That's strange. Then there's a video on Twitter of Magnus's reaction to that. He was like, what? Yeah, what world am I in? Okay, so then they play the rest of the game as if H4 wasn't played. Put it in H, 500 centidues. Okay, then they just played sort of normal with H4 being played.
Where's Kangaroo?
All right. And black is better. This is just good for black. Good. Rook H4 I made fun of during the game. Yeah, this is all good for black. Now, the engine preferred C5, but I understand why Magnus didn't play that. That gives away the D5 square and the B5 square. So he just played here, and he gave white sort of a suspicious pawn structure. Sort of suspicious, right? Yeah. And black's better here, but black's not winning. So Magnus went too far, and it was a draw anyway. Probably this is a draw, but, obviously rather have black, white's pawn structure, frankly.
Terrible.
Okay, I was going to say ridiculous,
Ridiculous.
but terrible's probably better. Thanks, Drew.
Thanks.
All right. Pawn structure chess, Andy Soltis. What was very funny about this game was this position. This is the funny position. Because the king defends 4 pawns, and the rook defends the other 2. So that is funny. Yeah. All right, so nothing happened. Now, in this position, this position. Rook C4 is a mistake. Black should play Rook A3, threatening B4. See, and then you take all the pawns.
Okay.
If the king moves, then you're taking, like if you play King D4, I take and I'm threatening mate. I think Magnus just didn't see Rook A3. He played here. Now white's slightly better because white's just a pawn up, but it's still a draw. Yeah, and A3 is excellent. A3. Because white wants to, if the rook moves away, the king moves away, I play C5. Then white might be winning, but black got in C5. So now it's just a draw. Okay, and if you, in this position, if you take the pawn, right? Then does white take this? Say, Ish, don't think so. What's better than taking this? Better. Recommended by me.
Mate.
Correct.
Rookie 6.
Gotcha, bitches. Right. So is that what happens? Is that how Magnus lost? No, that was Firouzja's analysis. Firouzja's like, why didn't you go here? I mean, I'm making that up, but it's still funny. Okay, so the game ended in a draw. And there you go. I predicted it would be king versus king because they like doing that, but they just agreed to a draw here. Now, there's a player in Michigan you never heard of, unless you're Bonarici, named Jim Kolbaki. And when I was rated like 2196 or 7, I was playing Jim Kolbaki. And if I won the game, I would become a master for the first time. I think I was 4, but I might have turned 5 already on my birthday. But anyway, I got rook against rook, and I didn't agree to a draw because I wanted to win. And then he ended up defending correctly, so it was a draw. It was a slow game, so, playing out. Now, the most famous rook versus rook story is what's his name? Doric. Do you remember? We were in Florida at the National whatever, grade championship. And Doric is one of the finest children in all of Atlanta. He's like 2,100 and he's like 10. And at this point, he was, I think, 8, but he might have been 9. He's 8 or 9. And he's rated like 1,700. And he's playing like a 15, 1,600, and they got rook versus rook. And Doric had an hour on his clock, archer style. And his opponent had like a minute. But there's like 5-second time delay. So pretty easy to draw, right? So what happened was his opponent offered to draw every move. And then Doric says sometimes twice a move, which I find funny. and Doric's not allowing it. Then, at some point, after playing 30, 40 moves, the kid hung his rook to rook check, rook takes rook. And he said the kid just cried forever. Yeah. And I was like, good. So that's my student. Yeah. He won rook versus rook in the national, I don't know, second grade championship, third grade, I don't know, something. So go somebody. Interesting name. All right. I love stories with a happy ending. That's what, I can't finish my sentence. Okay, next. Okay, next. You're so next. What cartoon? Barbara Seville, You're So Next.
I don't know this word. Hey, Boss Key Farmer. I'll be right back.
Wait, let's see if they know. Anybody?
I can guess a cartoon, but...
You won't guess it.
No. Okay. This could be one of the ones that...
Yay, the guy got it. No, it's Bugs Bunny.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen that
The
one.
two best Bugs Bunnies are the Barbara Seville one,
I know that one.
and then there's the one with the monster where he's the hairdresser of the monster.
I like the frog one, the Michigan Rabbit.
That's also good. But you know the one where they're in a castle and there's a monster chasing them, and then Bugs
B555,
pretends, and then Bugs pretends he's a hairdresser and starts doing the guy's nails and
Yeah,
hair.
and it's on his hair, like with his...
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're so very
I know that one.
interesting. Yeah. The opera episode, it's like the opera game. Yeah. On what television show does the star of the show like Bugs Bunny a lot and bases his whole life on those kind of songs and stuff?
I don't know.
Seinfeld.
Oh.
Seinfeld loves that stuff. Yeah. All right. When they went to the opera, he sang all that. Overture, turn the lights. This is it. Tonight's the night. You know, Seinfeld.
I don't remember it. But I have the 2-volume, The Best of Looney Tunes.
Good,
Like,
good. Can I watch that?
Several DVDs.
You still have it?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I can watch that. Yeah. I haven't seen those since before you were born.
I love those.
Yeah.
We
Where Bugs is
discovered
the
something new
animator.
about
That's
each
true. Yeah. They made fun of it on, I don't know, South Park or Family Guy. I don't know. They're watching Bugs Bunny, and then Elmer Fudd just kills Bugs Bunny, and then they leave. Like, instead of he's like, "What's up, Doc?" And then he shoots him and turns his neck and just walks away with him. That's it. And then the cartoon ends. Yeah. All right. Michigan J. Frog is correct.
That's my favorite one.
Yeah. All right. Only slightly racist. All right. Let's go to the next ones. This is Fabiano versus Ali Reza. Black plays the losing opening according to Shankland, which everybody's playing and losing with. All right. And then in this position, where White's obviously better because White has the two bishops, even though White doesn't have the two bishops, but potentially, right? See the latent potential? Mm-hmm. All right. So notice that this is opposite this because I said so. Mm-hmm. Okay. And the engine plays queen b6. And Ali Reza is like, you can take my b pawn. I don't care. So now White has the two bishops and an extra pawn. And nothing happened. Like you can see the engine's evaluation is White's winning. Mm-hmm. Now, if you are going to give up the b pawn, which I don't understand, now you got to do this and trap the queen and win that, which doesn't work, but you got to do something. He's just I'm down a pawn, two bishops, whatever. So the rest of the game, he's just completely lost. So two bishops and an extra pawn. So I don't know. No compensation. All right. Then in this position, White gave up his d pawn because you see he's got he's got this going on. See, I told you he had two bishops. And now he wins the exchange. Now, if Black doesn't want to lose the exchange, he can play bishop e7, but he's just down a pawn for nothing. Then bishop c5, and Black's position, frankly, terrible. But he sacked the exchange, and for no compensation. Now, he did win this pawn. However, he was down a pawn, so now it's equal pawns. And he's just down a rook for a knight. And nothing happened. It's a very boring game. It's Ali Reza playing terribly and losing. Okay, now, what's his name? I'll say Magnus. In this position, Fabi fell for the knight e5 fork. Terrible. See? But not really. And now we're going to ask Karen if he takes this. If he didn't take it. If he takes that. What Zwischenzug move does White play winning? Go, Karen.
Queen takes g6.
Correct. And the engine says plus $1 billion. Okay. So Firouzja didn't do that. He played here stopping that. And then he just resigned. because white's up in exchange for nothing. The engine says +6. And the best line for black is this. And that's not good.
Yeah.
So he resigned. Okay, so Firouzja gave the pawn away on purpose, gave away the 2 bishops on purpose, and then lost. There's good and there's no good. Yeah. Queen G6, exclam. Would bishop F7 work instead of Queen G6? Bishop F7. I don't know. What's going on? Why'd you do that? What? Why'd he give his bishop up? What's happening? The answer is fries. Yeah. Is he titled or tilted? Yeah, actually, Firouzja's playing so bad that on Tuesday, he's going to play in Tilted Tuesday. He's on tilt. Now, in your professional opinion as a chess center owner, at the point in the tournament when Giri plays Firouzja, who do you think's going to win? Correct.
That's tough.
Yeah.
I hope Giri wins.
You hope Giri wins. God damn.
I feel bad for him.
Damn. Giri draw.
At least Firouzja's won some games.
That's true. He has won 3 games in the tournament. 3 more than Giri. Can't they both lose? I guess they can both get disconnected. I don't know. Giri forever, 150. If you prefer Firouzja, you should donate more to show how much you love Firouzja. That only makes sense, right? Well, the guy gave 150 for Giri. There should be a war like, no, 200 Firouzja. Then keep going and then see what happens.
Oh, there's a poll.
Yeah. I think Giri will win, but, you know, if you can call that winning. Where's the other? I want to vote some other way. All right. I only vote for like 1 cent to do, so it never, you know.
Yeah.
I never know how to vote with all my cent to do's.
Well, you know, Alireza is only 16, right?
No.
How old is he?
Yeah, he is. Oh. I'm from the Midwest. I say yeah a lot more than Ben. Good. It's already been made, Gowrie. There's already a poll. Terrible. Poor Alireza. Before this tournament, they made fun of Giri saying he might come in last before the tournament. And they said Alireza might come in first.
Who said that?
A lot of people did. A lot of people did.
Yeah?
Yeah, because he beat Magnus in like a 3-minute game. So they were like, ooh, that's pretty good. Yeah. They also think, a lot of people thought Firouzja was better than Magnus before this tournament. They were like, Firouzja beat Magnus twice. He beat him in this tournament. He beat him in this tournament. Firouzja's the best. Yeah, frankly, terrible. 5 draws. Rawr. All right, 400 viewers. That's good because we're getting to the best part of the best. Okay, Magnus versus MVL. We just look at this game? No. All the games are the same, so I can't tell. All right. Okay, so this position, white's better, and Magnus made a mistake. As the wife of a grandmaster who likes to play certain moves, what move should white play here? 500 centidues.
King B1.
Correcto mundo. And what does the engine say?
King B1.
Right, and what did Magnus do? Not King B1.
Yeah.
To play better than the world champion, randomly follow my rules. There you go. Easy. Okay, Giri wins. God damn, did Giri win. Look at that. 77%. God damn, you guys don't like Firouzja anymore. They left the Firouzja train pretty quick.
I wasn't.
Not you, them. Man, they were like, Firouzja's going to win the tournament. Do you think Firouzja will be world champion tomorrow? Why was Giri invited to this tournament? And now you think Giri's going to be Firouzja. All that happened. Everything I said happened. They were like, why is Giri playing instead of Grishuk? Do you think Firouzja's world champion next year? And still they think Giri's going to be Firouzja. God damn. All right. So he played knight e4, doubling it up on the bubble up. So you got the double up there, right? Okay. c5. Now you play king b1. Okay. And now MVL made a terrible... Well, first of all, this move is very bad. And I was telling... When the stream started and I was analyzing the games, I was explaining how MVL and Firouzja, they have trouble building. They always are doing something. And the right move is rook c8. Because obviously, since white just played e5, white's going to play bishop f3. That looks pretty good. And it was pretty good. But he can play rook c8. Okay, he played cd4 very bad. not only allowing this, but opening up the file to his knight. So a terrible move. Okay, and then here he blundered. In this position, if he plays queen b6, it's about equal. Okay, but he blundered with queen d7. And that's actually very sneaky. Magnus played the correct move. He attacked the knight. The knight's attacked 5 million times. Knight a7. And now queen takes, and the idea is if you take with the knight, we have bishop c6 because he played queen d7.
Yeah.
If he played queen b6, we wouldn't have that. And white's going to be up the exchange. So what the engine wanted to do was give up the 2 bishops, which is just take with the queen. Okay, and this has equal pawns, but white has 2 bishops for nothing. Black has double pawns, and bishop b7 is the threat. Okay, so the engine says white's, basically winning, like close to winning. And MVL didn't like that, so he actually allowed bishop c6, okay, intentionally, so he could put his knight on d5 and blockade. And in this position, you actually shouldn't take the queen. See how the queen's pinned. You don't want the pawn on d4 and the black knight on d5. Now, it turned out Magnus didn't care and won instantly. But better would probably be to play rook here, and don't let the knight go to d5 because you can take with the rook and play e4 and kick the knight out, as opposed to in the game when you see, whoa. Yeah, sometimes it stops for a second. Like I can't click anything. Okay, I fixed it by doing nothing. And now you see that knight just sits there forever. Okay, now I could talk about this position for an hour because I get paid by the hour. Okay, this is a move Magnus played that none of you would ever play, and it's the engine move, and it's like basically too hard for you guys. I'll try to explain it. If I could explain it, that's more about me than you because you guys, okay. So in this position, white's up the exchange, but how does white win? Because this is a great knight, right? And these pawns can't move, and you can't infiltrate on the c file. So how do you win? And the way to win is to break through on the king side. Magnus played h4, even though it hangs his pawn. Now, obviously, you can't take with the bishop because g3 and it's pinned. Taking with the rook is bad, as the engine points out. But now white gains space on the king side, g4, h5, rook f1, and eventually he'll break through. And MVL played a very bad move here. He captured the free pawn, right? Okay. Now, obviously, this isn't MVL's forte because MVL moved forward, and he likes to retreat because he's French. So that's not good. Okay. So now after the trade, white gets to crash through, and his rook gets to enter the position because he has the open h file now. So h4 is a really world-class move. That's a really good move. The only other player who I think would definitely play that in that position is Grishuk. That's a Grishuk kind of move. Okay. So now he infiltrates, right? Okay. And now in this position, black is in zugzwang. Black can't move anything. Okay. If the knight moves away, my king can walk in. And the bishop can't legally move. And all he can do is here, which I can easily stop. You can't play. Okay. So now, he's not going to go down like no punk. So he played f6. Never play f6. And then after takes check, you can't stop rook here. And you lose all your pawns. And you see the engine evaluation. Thanks, Michael Burns. So black resigned. So very bad game from MVL because he played c takes d4 too early, missing this tactic on the c file. And also he should have taken on h4, so he lost the game like in 5 moves instead of in 50 moves. Very bad defense. Frankly, terrible. Why not bishop f2 attacking the d pawn? If bishop f2, which you could play, I play rook f1, and then goddamn, right? I take everything. Yeah, I can't even understand what I'm taking. Look at all this. Look how much I'm taking. Man, I took everything. And then what's the engine evaluation?
+3.
And then some. And then some. Right.
Still
you got pass pawn. You could do that, but you lose all your pawns. Yeah. All right. Several hundred sent to do donations for some reason. Sounds like they were trying to get another train, but it didn't work because it hasn't been long enough. All right. So Fabi's up 2-0. And let's see, 2-4-5. And What's his name? Magnus is up 2-1? No, that's not right. Wait, how can we be on this game? This game, white, black. What? There's too many games here. No, wait, there can't be too many games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are too many games. I knew I was confused. Okay, so I have to get rid of this game because there's nothing here. All right. So what game are we on? This game. All right, so this is game 3 of the Firouzja Fabi match. Fabi is up 2-0. Fabi needs to draw this game to win the match. H4 approved by Ginger GM. God's name and goddamn. No, I really shouldn't use God's name in vain. I like God. He's my favorite fictional character. What cartoon is that? Let's see if Karen knows. Which cartoon character says God is my favorite fictional character?
Rick and Morty?
That would be Rick and Morty. It was actually Homer. Yeah, that's not really a Homer. That's, yeah. No, my favorite making fun of God on the cartoons, which is every cartoon, is they do a flashback of Peter singing to the Sunday school. And he's playing the guitar and he's like, if you're good, you go to heaven. He's on. And he's done. Everybody's like, yay. It's all like 5-year-old kids. And one kid says, is it true that, whatever, you go to heaven if you're good? And he says, no, I'm just yanking you. You just rot in the ground. The way he said, I'm just yanking you. That was great. Oh, man. Yeah, Bender would say that, too. Although Bender believes in the robot devil. Where does the robot devil live in Futurama? You can ask Archer. He'll know.
Well, he's busy.
Do you know where he lives? The answer is funny.
No, I don't watch it.
Oh, let's see if they know. Oh, is the robot Ocean City? No. It might be Ocean City, but I mean the state. I don't know what the town is. It could be Ocean City. I don't know. In a boiler? New Jersey. Yeah. He lives in New Jersey. Okay. And they're like, who would have thought the devil would be real and live in New Jersey? He says, well, actually. Yeah. Go Robot. The Robot Devil is a great character, by the way. That's one of the best characters. Yeah. The Robot Devil gets really annoyed by Fry and Bender. He's like, get out of here. Leave me alone. Yeah, he doesn't like them. Yeah. New Jersey is correct. Okay. So Fabi needs to win this game. Needs to draw this game to win the match. And they play sort of boring. And I think knight takes is a mistake because it allows e4, e5 too quickly. I think you should take with the e-pawn. So this is his first mistake. And then he just gets completely outplayed and crushed. White's doing great. And as the engine will say, white has a big advantage, right? 0.6, 0.7, 0.8. Now he should play queen g6, threatening bishop takes to h6. Instead, he always retreats, and now his advantage is gone. And black should actually play e5 here, which he didn't do, which lets the bishop get out here, attacks the knight, and tries to open the center with the king and queen there. And then after knight takes, he can play bishop d6, and rook e8, and bishop g4, knight g4. And the engine actually prefers black here, even though black's down a pawn, because all these pieces are loose. Right? Terrible. Okay, Fabi didn't do that. Fabi played here. And the game was about equal. Everybody was happy. Okay, nothing serious happened this game. Pretty boring. All zeros, everything equal. Nobody's better. Everything's fine. Trade everything off. All right. And I'll get to the critical position. Okay, this is critical position 1. Here, white's better because these pawns are doubled and isolated, but it's a small advantage. He played this move, allowing rook b6. Obviously, rook b6 here wouldn't be very good because you take it, right? Well, now that's pretty weak. Backward pawn. Yeah. And now just taking it is equal. But Fabi played for the win. Fabi thought he was better here. So instead of taking this and drawing, he played aggressive with his, and black's doing fine here. Yeah, this is reasonable. Yeah, very good play. And the engine prefers black because black's king is better than white's king. So black's a little bit better. Okay. This is all good. Everything's good. Always repeat. Now, Geary would have played rook e1, agreed to a draw, and lost the match, right? But Firouzja wants to win, so he plays for a win. Okay. And Fabi's playing great. Fabi has an advantage here. And now, after 50 moves of good play by black, taking an equal or slightly worse position, outplaying his opponent, now he goes astray. Notice white wants to play rook e6 check. So the engine wants to play knight c7, which stops rook e6 check. It also stops rook e8, so the rook can't infiltrate. And then king d5 and etc. But instead he played king d6, engine not approved, still equal. King e2, rook b1's fine. King d3, everything's fine. Still equal. Okay. And in this position, he should play knight c7 because this move is annoying, winning all the pawns. So knight c7, obviously you can't play rook a8 because I take it. So he played knight e7, which isn't as good. Still okay. And now he made a very bad move, losing 2 tempi. What I think Fabi was thinking was he would check, the king would go back, and he would go back. Always repeat. But actually, Firouzja correctly played king e4, going this way. Okay, Fleetwood Mac style. And now actually black's in a lot of trouble because heretofore, when the rook would do this, we could play knight c6 defending the pawn. Well, the knight is stopping the king from walking in. So the rook b1, rook b3 check move in this position was really terrible because it forced the king to a better square than he just went back. So basically any move is better. Very terrible move. Rook c1 is interesting because the rook can come down and defend and it should be a draw. Okay, and then he just lost very easily. He defended the pawn, the king walked in, and then bishop d8 is a very bad move. That's the wrong square for the bishop. Notice how the knight is overworked. The bishop is stupid here. Why did he play bishop d8? To trap the rook. He tried, and he failed miserably. The lesson is...
Never try.
Never try, right. Yeah, so he tried to trap that rook, but that didn't work. Now this is attacked, and black's defending everything, but unsuccessfully. So since he can't defend everything, he's like, all right, I'll go take the rook. Okay, but it doesn't work. Knight here, everything's attacked. Frankly, terrible. You can't go here and take the rook because I'll take this and take this. So he traded, or he took this, which is 9 question marks. I thought he traded because that was better. And then knight e6 check, winning the bishop. How's Fabi missing knight e6 check, winning a bishop? What? What is he, you guys? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What?
Was he low
Notice the bishop's defended by the knight, so he undefended it. Yeah, but you shouldn't miss that when you're 2,800. If you're like 800, you should miss it, not 2,800. Misclick, nah, he blunders, he's in time trouble. So Firouzja, in a must-win game, from an equal and or worse ending, he won. So now he's down 2-1, and Magnus is up 2-1. Everybody's up 2-1. Fabi and Magnus. Etc. Even though he's not playing, correct. Okay, now we get to the interesting part of the lecture. I'm going to analyze this game. Mainly the endgame is what I'm interested in. Then I'm going to show you another endgame where they got the same position 9 years ago. Not these two guys. And then I'm going to go to the table base and see who plays the worst. Frankly, it's the worst. Okay, Magnus needs a draw and he wins the match. MVL needs to win and he ties the match. Okay, so he took and played g6, which I'm not familiar with. And they transposed some boring g3 Grunfeld. Then it got really exciting. All the pieces were hanging. They traded all the pieces. Always trade all the pieces. Okay, and they got this like drawn position by trading all the pieces. 1,000 centidues, thank you. Okay, trade everything, always trade. And this is a dead drawn position. So Magnus correctly found all these moves that traded everything, and white has no advantage, and white has to win to win the match, to tie the match. So now it's hopeless for white. So white's only hope is to get a bad position, hope that Magnus overpresses. However, in this position, Magnus really nicely after king f3. Now, black's better here, but he played knight e4, going into an ending that's either a draw or a win for black, and white must win. So that was very nice. Black wins a pawn, and white doesn't win this pawn. And the reason he doesn't win is because of rook h5. That's really nice. And I'm sure he saw that when he played knight e4, that he could defend his pawn. So black's just a pawn up. Okay, now black missed a one-move win in this position. Never play f6. That was a blunder. King g4 is just winning. I don't know why he didn't play king g4, but that wins very quickly. And then we take all these pawns. If you go here, I go here threatening mate. And if you go here, now I'm threatening rook f2 check and rook takes f4, which wins all your pawns. Okay, so king g4 would have won, but he played f6, never play f6. And as a consequence, he did not win. All right. And we'll get to the key position. All right. And this is the key position here. Now in this position, the engine says it's a draw because it's a draw, and I have the table base up. So the table base has every legal move for both sides and tells you whether they win or draw. And obviously, the two most logical moves are taking a free pawn or checking first and then taking the free pawn. And he played a move I never in my life would have thought of, trying to get the Vancouver position, which he did achieve. However, the table base says, no. It's the Consuela version of the table base. No. So instead of taking this pawn and drawing, or playing rook c5 check and then taking and drawing, he played king f3, confusing the audience. And the idea is to run your king over here and get this well-known drawn position. However, I put this in the table base. See, told you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And in this position, this move draws. You can see the table base there. This move draws and this move draws. And he played king f3, losing. Okay. Now, let's see if we can look at the table base. Well, actually, I don't know the moves of the game, so I can't. Okay. So he played rook a2 after king f3, which is a losing move. And rook a2 does not win. Rook a3 wins, rook a1 wins, and h4 wins. And it tells you how long it takes to checkmate, right? So here Magnus is winning, but he played, what did he play, rook a2? Yeah. And now he's not winning. And rook e3 is the only drawing move. And he played the losing move, king g3. So every move they make is wrong. That's why they're the best in the world. Okay, king g3 is wrong. That loses. Okay, and now all these moves win for Magnus. All those moves win. See? Win. You see what I'm saying? Okay. Magnus played a4. That's one of the winning moves. That's the quickest winning move. Rook e4. Now, Magnus played king d3, which really confused me, because that's the wrong way. So I mean, maybe that's the winning move. I was confused by king d3. And I can't even find king d3. Where was king d3? Oh, because he played, wait, what did he play? Played rook e4. I can't find it because I have the wrong person to move. King d3 does not win. Rook a1 wins, rook a3 wins, h4 wins. So every move they played, like white was losing, then it was a draw, then white was losing, then it was a draw. Yeah. Now the position is a draw, and if I'm not incorrect, every move that was played the rest of the game is a draw. And now it's an easy draw because you keep the rook over here. So I don't think you can win anymore. King here, check, king e4, king e3, check, king e4. Yeah, this is a draw now. Now, you may be wondering why this is a draw. And the reason is white gets his king to the h file, and then he keeps his rook on the side of the pawn and does nothing. Black has two winning methods. Move the king over here or queen the pawn. If you push the pawn here, my rook goes behind the pawn and it's an easy draw. So Magnus didn't do that. Magnus knows if his pawn goes here, after rook a4, there's no winning chances. You can't move anything. So the reason you put your king on h2 instead of like over here is you want the rook to check from the side. Rook f3. Now the rook can't go to the g file because you can't play rook g4 check because the pawn is here. Then black would play king b4 and then he would move his rook and win. But he can't play king b4 here because I check you. So the only way to draw is to keep your king here so it's not blocking your rook from checks. And that's what happened. And then they agreed to a draw. Okay, now, if we go to the next game, Hikaru versus Nepomniachtchi, this is the game I was telling you about during the stream from Tall Memorial 2011. And I was Hikaru's second at this tournament. And they got this position, which is the other side of the board. See, before the black, see the rook was, yeah. Okay, and this is the same position. And Nepomniachtchi knew this, so he intentionally, if we go back, okay, you see how it's 2 versus 1, right? Nepomniachtchi's like, I don't need that g-pawn to draw. I'm going to Vancouver it up. Yeah, he's like, you can take my pawn, I don't care. Yeah, and it's the same thing. Yeah, and you keep your king over here, so your rook has all these checks from the side, if necessary. Yeah, and it's the same thing. You just check from the side. And they agree to a draw. If the king goes over here, like if the king approaches the rook, right? Yeah, now we just stay over here. And if the king goes back here, we stay over here. And if the pawn pushes, we go here, dead draw. All zeros. The rook goes down here and we just chill. Now, if the king is somewhere else, let's put the king somewhere else, like here. See, it's here? Now black wins. If rook takes pawn, rook check wins the rook.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's why you keep the king here. So this is always a draw. And you keep the king there so your rook has a lot of spaces for checks. So you're not getting blocked. Yeah. And Nepo knew that, and MVL knew that. MVL tried to get to that position, but he shouldn't have been allowed. But Magnus is like, I won the match already. Leave me alone. Yeah. Frosty Balrog gave 5 subs. The Vancouver position, you can look it up on the internet, happens in Super GM games occasionally. It's very hard to understand because you were taught, put the rook behind the passed pawn, right? Now, let's go back. Imagine, let's play dumb. Let's put the rook behind the passed pawn, okay? See that's behind the passed pawn?
Yeah.
Now you're losing. Because now I have a place to hide, right, Archer?
Yeah.
All right. So now I have a place to hide. You got to pay attention.
I have to go back.
I know. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. So if the rook is on the side here, we check forever. Pay attention. See how we check forever?
Yeah.
If the rook is behind the pawn, which you were taught, now I can hide.
Right.
And now my rook comes out and I just win easily, as you can see the engine evaluation.
Yeah.
Right. Conversely, if the pawn goes here, let me go back. Okay. If the pawn goes here, now the rook goes behind the pawn. And now it's a draw because the king has nowhere to hide. Okay. Who sings that? The Supremes? Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide? Is that the Supremes? Chiffons? What? You know that? Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. I think it's the Supremes.
I don't know.
Is it Supremes or Chiffons? Come on, somebody hook me up. Now! Remember when I said the rook goes on the side of the pawn and it checks, checks, checks? And then if the pawn goes up, it goes behind the pawn? The third thing we can do, which we didn't discuss, although I did, was let's say the rook goes to the side of the pawn when it's on the 7th rank. Okay? Now you lose because rook here check and then you queen.
Right.
So when it's on the 7th, the rook goes behind. When it's on the 5th or the 6th, the rook goes to the side. But if it gets to the 7th, then you go behind. All right. Okay, delete forever. Banned is children's children. All right. Now that's too hard for you guys, but what isn't? Yeah. Promote with check is correct. Okay, so Nepo drew, MVL drew. Nepo was always drawing. MVL got lucky at the end. Okay. Now, in the last game, Firouzja versus Ali Reza, Fabiano won the first 2 games. The third game he lost, and now Fabiano needs a draw with white, which he should not have achieved. And in this position, black played a very unusual move, trying to transpose into a Dutch. He played knight e4, confusing the audience. And then after here, he played f5. Right? Okay, so white's slightly better. Fabi played very badly this game. from being a slightly better position. Knight f3 is a terrible move. Knight b4. Now, the reason this is terrible is the bishop is trapped. There's no retreating squares. Now, you can't attack the bishop, so Firouzja played knight b4. Now he can play c6, attacking the bishop. Also, he's attacking the queen. Okay. So he played knight e1, so his bishop could escape. And Firouzja went, no, and played e4. Now the bishop's trapped. c6 wins the bishop. And more importantly, black has connect 4. Okay. Now, the only way to get the bishop to escape from c6 is c5, so the bishop can escape. But that just loses a pawn. So black's just up a pawn now. Okay. So black's winning. He's up a pawn. And then probably g5 isn't the best move, but okay. And they got this position, and this is where black started to go incorrect. Notice white's threatening rook takes f5 because I said so. Mm-hmm. So he played bishop c8 defending it. We should have played rook f8 because this rook's really good. The rook and the knight are keeping the king trapped, and this pawn is perpetually attacked. So this king just can't move, and these pieces are infiltrating, so he should have played rook f8 getting rid of the rook. But he played here, and now, white's pieces are pretty good. Now, Fabi played a very important move. If black plays c4, the bishop is getting trapped again. So he played bishop d5. A lot of the gawking rabble on the chat, when I did the lecture originally, they were like, why doesn't he take that? Right? Mm-hmm. This is like puzzle rush, like first puzzle. What does white do?
Rook f8.
Mm-hmm. So, for some reason, the player saw that. Now, this king doesn't have a lot of squares, right?
Yeah.
So this just sits here, and how does black win? All right. Bishop d7, not too good. f4, and now black may double question mark move. I posited that perhaps he doesn't know the en passant rule. Now, here's the problem.
You're getting a raid.
Who? Oh, Charlotte Chess Center raided me. Hooray! Go Charlotte Chess Center. You raid me. I raid you. Okay. Now, if I play rook d6, your bishop can't move. It's pinned.
Yeah.
But it's defended twice. So I can move the rook because the knight defends. Mm-hmm. If the knight wasn't here, rook d6 is pretty annoying because it wins. Mm-hmm. Bishop c6, bishop e6. So after f4, you have to take en passant. And now black has a free move. Black can make any move he wants. Like bishop takes a4. Okay. And instead, Firouzja played gf like 8 question marks. Now his knight's attacked, right? Now he should try to take en passant, even though it was just gf, because that's funny. Scholastic, 16 years old. Yeah, and now the game's over. And bishop e6 wins, the game's over. So after f4, Firouzja plays g takes f double question mark, and he's dead lost. Instead of e takes f3 en passant, and he's better. Frankly, terrible. And then, remember when I asked you, why can't he take the bishop, and you said rook f8 check, mate? Mm-hmm. Then it actually happened.
Really?
Yeah, watch. Here, and he played rook e8. He's like, ha-ha, if you take, I'll take. Except you can't take for the same reason.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he resigned. That's how the game ended. He was losing anyway, didn't matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a funny way to lose. So black was equal. Black had a big advantage, probably winning. Then he got totally crushed when he was winning. So Fabi wins 3-1. Before the tournament, the gawking rabble were like, Firouzja might win the tournament. And I included was like, yeah, Fabi's not too good at 15-minute. He might fight for last with Geary. Instead, Fabi's not as bad as he plays. No.
I'll be right back.
What?
I'll be right back.
Exactly. So that was all the games. Go, everybody. 500 viewers. Normally, we have about 40 or 50 viewers, but Charlotte Chess Center raid. Yay. Bishop d7 does work, but it's less good because now you can get pinned again. Or rook here check and rook comes down because the bishop doesn't defend. Yeah. Obviously, this is winning. White's up a piece. Yeah. But I mean, GF is like an unforgivable blunder. There's some blunders made in this tournament which boggle the mind. Like, why would you play GF and then after rook d6 you resign? In my opinion, I can't prove it. In my opinion, Firouzja didn't see rook d6. He thought rook f7 was going to be played because his knight was here stopping it. So I think he wasn't worried about Rook D6. He just missed it. He's like, oh, Rook D6. And then, like, you resign. Rook D6 before wasn't a serious threat, but now it is because you lose a piece. So that's what I think happened. I think he was expecting Rook F7. By the way, White's better here. So he still should have played en passant and then taken on A4, and all three results are possible. Is there a deadline to join the tournament tomorrow? The earliest you can join is 3 o'clock. The latest is when before the starts. Maybe you can start while it starts, but that's silly. 3:59:59. Then you'll get paired for the first round. Tournament starts 4 p.m. Eastern and substandard time. I expect 250 players. There's $280 in prizes, no entry fee. And the tournament information is up on Twitter, on MooBot, on Discord. And if you go to chess.com tournaments, where the tournaments are listed, it's also there. Can grandmasters stack paper to the ceiling? Some of them can. Big money, no whammy, stop. Also, mainly, etc. What do you think?
About what?
Yeah, it is so talkative during the stream. Terrible.
Who, me?
Yeah.
I'm trying to pay attention.
She kept interrupting. Yeah, it was awful. Yeah. So who do you think's going to win this tournament other than Magnus? Magnus? Who has the best chance who's not Magnus to win the event? Because you only have to come in the top 4, then you go on to the next thing.
Ding.
Ding? That is correct. Mm-hmm. Yeah, ding is correct. Yeah.
I like ding.
Yeah, there's 3 sections tomorrow. Open, under 1,800, and under 1,400. And open's not open. It's 1,800 and over. Man, I don't even have an opinion. He did it again from, Pulp Fiction. Marvin.
Vaguely.
Yeah, you shot Marvin in the face. That must have been an accident. I don't know. Yeah. Ben is going to win all the prizes, not even playing. Yeah. All right, I got to take a nap or, take a nap forever. COVID. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, 10 p.m. and 11 hours and 35 minutes. Right, sweetie?
Yeah.
See, I told you. All right.
I guess it's right. Bye. Good night.
Bye, everybody.